Hello everyone and welcome back to another edition of Indexa Office Hours. Today is the 1st of August and this is Indexa Office Hours 118. If anyone is new to Indexa Office Hours, and I see a few new faces, yep I do, this is the town square for graph ecosystem participants to come together to discuss the most important and relevant topics for indexes. This is the conversation. We love participation. So if you would like to get involved, please do via voice or text. If you're having any issues unmuting your mic, let me know and I will try to get you sorted out. Just as a reminder, this is a session that is going to be recorded and published onto public channels like YouTube. So if you're concerned about privacy, please bear that in mind. And with that, let's get into today's agenda. So it's been a busy week, I guess, for the GRT folks. Nick has published 2 episodes. The first is a special release with Alex from Alex from Streamfast, who many of you already know. And this was a discussion on substreams. It was a very short episode, only 12 minutes. But if you're interested to get some tidbits, recommend checking out that. And that will be posted. That's already in the agenda, but I will post it here just for reference in case anyone is interested. Already ahead of the game. Love it. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing, Nick. And then the next one I would like to tell you guys about is episode 127 with Alex Shaw, who is the new CEO of Tenderize. So some of you may already know because Tenderize has already been featured in the GRT IQ episode, GRT IQ podcast. Tenderize is a liquid staking solution and Web3 middleware. And in this conversation, Nico talks a bit about, their V2 and how they are planning on the release. And so if you're interested to catch up with all things Tenderize, learn about, some of the questions, some of the responses he had to Nick's questions around what this means for protocol economics of various protocols, I would recommend checking out that episode as well. And as I can see, Nick has shared that one as well. Thank you, sir. Wonderful. Well, that is it for opening remarks. I'm going to hand it over to Anna, who's going to take us into our regularly scheduled Repo Watch.
Thank you, Abel, and hello, everyone. Okay, so today on Repo Watch, we will start straight away with execution layer clients. And here we have had a new release from Firehose Ethereum. This is version 1.4.10. This is a small release. It contains mainly support for continuous authentication via gRPC, auth plugin, plus a fix for some jobs that would hang when using specific flags. Moving on from that, we have a bigger release from Cello. This is 1.8.0 beta 1. What you need to know about this release is that this release is the only Baklava-only release of 1.8.0, and after testing on the Baklava testnet, it will be followed by 1.8.0 stable, which will be intended for both mainnet and Alpha Horus network. And this release includes a hard fork. The gingerbread hard fork that has been detailed in CIP 62. It also includes a number of removed features that have been all detailed in CIP 52, 53, 54, 55, and 56. Another important update here is once you upgrade to this release, as a result of CIP 57, transactions must not be sent using fields gateway fee and gateway fee recipients. And CIP 58 changes the gas cost to be more in line with Ethereum. What this actually means is that transactions will have different, usually somewhat higher gas costs than before. So before you upgrade to this, please do read all of the details of the release carefully. Moving on to consensus layer clients, no releases here, and same for the graph stack. However, we have a new update in Repo Watch this week. So Matthew Vachon from Streaming Fast has created a blockchain operator upgrade calendar. This is your one-stop solution for tracking hard forks and scheduled maintenances for various protocols within the Graph ecosystem. It will help you stay on top of all major protocol events, including hard forks and essential updates for seamless node functioning. So I'll send you a link to the calendar. Please check it out, and please do let us know if this is useful for all indexers. And that's all I have for this week. Take it away, Juan.
Thanks, Anna. Cool. Getting into Protocol Watch, we have a few things to cover. First of all, firm governance. We have 𝗨𝗶𝗶𝗀𝗀, which is the exponential query fee rebate for indexers. There's an update that's not related to the actual GAP, but rather more to the auto-transfer tools, which was a question, I think, from Derek, whether they were already live in testnet. The actual comment is a little bit old. It's from last week. But it was a response from Pablo regarding that it was going to be live very soon. It was live in the contract side of things, but it was just waiting for the UI to catch up. And as far as I remember, it's already live in testnet. So if any of you want to try it out in testnet before it's rolled out to mainnet soon, you can do so. Next up, we have 𝗨𝗶_41, which is store dispute status on resolution. This was a sort of old GIP regarding storing the dispute status once the dispute is resolved. It has been kind of like in limbo for a few months. It's not actually in limbo. It was mostly just going back and forth with contract changes and trying to figure out an audit slot. There's a small explanation of why it's been kind of like looking like it's in limbo for a while by Pablo. Mainly it's that it's basically the back and forth from working on the contracts, making sure that it's audited, those things. If anyone's interested in catching up with that, there's a link in the agenda. Then there's another thread regarding fixing some minor spelling and grammar issues on the GIP repo. It's basically that. And then we go into firm research where we have no updates since last IOH. Getting into the contracts repository, we have a small update to some of the PRs regarding L2 staking and vesting transfer tools, regarding audit reports, as well as some chores for the exponential rebates to be deployed to testnet and bump the package from NPM. For the network subgraphs, we don't have releases. Again, we're waiting on the L2 transfer tools being live to release the new changes to the network subgraph, as well as analytics and token distribution. And that's pretty much it for Protocol Watch. So I'm going to hand it over to 𝗨𝗀𝗬𝗀 now.
Wonderful. Thank you so much there, Juan and Anna, for your sections. So as I mentioned to a few of you earlier in the episode, or discussion, I should say, we have an open call today. So last week we had a specific agenda and we spoke about, we had 𝗨𝗪𝗀𝗂 come along and tell us about Indexer Agent. And so this week I thought we would either continue the conversation there, maybe answer some follow-up questions, or just kind of take it in any sort of direction that folks want to take it in, because I have been told that folks do like this open forum style. So yeah, I see someone typing. There was a question earlier from Derek, which Matthew seems to have answered, which is the integration of chains into the decentralized network now that MIPS is concluded. There is indeed a JIP coming out on that. I also haven't heard much on that, but I can follow up with the folks at well, I guess Nick is actually here, so maybe Nick, you can speak to that if you have any updates there. Sorry, not to put you on the spot in case you don't want to speak to it, but yeah, I figured since you're here, maybe you might have some updates.
I can provide an update, but I probably need to hear the question asked again. Forgive me.
No problem. Yes. Yeah, no problem. So the question was, I'll read it word for word. Has there been any discussion in terms of how new networks will integrate into the decentralized network now that MIPS is concluded?
there has been a lot of discussion about it, and I think there will be some GIPs coming soon on the topic. And yeah, keep your eyes open. But I'm super excited about what the future looks like in this regard, and it's going to be, a huge step forward, I think, for the protocol and the community. So keep your eyes open. More to come soon, very soon.
Awesome. Well, you heard it there. Looking forward to the GIPs. Let's see if there are any other questions that we have here. Okay. Motto seems to have posted some stuff here. Let's have a look. Okay, we will get back to you on that. I'll mark that as a question. Okay. Are we expecting? Cool. Cool. Well, any other additional questions that people want to put forward, or any topics that people want to put forward for discussion? Okay, seems like there's some comments in the chat in relation to which chains are people most excited to be added to the network. ZK Sync Optimism, nice, exciting. Okay, Vince says those ones there, ZK Sync and Optimism plus base.
Yo, there's an Arbitrum fire hose coming soon, TM. Holy crap. Gib.
Do you want to share some thoughts on that, Matthew?
Well, I just saw someone post that in the Streaming Fast Discord channel earlier today.
Ooh, spicy alpha.
Spicy alpha indeed.
Oh no, another Unisub substream. Crap. It's gonna take a while to sync it.
Yeah, this one's V2 as well, so it'll be even longer.
Oh boy. Was it published on Arbitrum?
Yep. One cool thing about that though is the just with the amount of forks off of Uniswap v2, that will then mean that substream can start to be forked, and we can start creating different substreams for all the other Uniswap v2 forks. It'd be great.
I don't get it. Can you try to explain like I'm 5?
Yeah, we use the Uniswap v2 code base for protocols that forked the Uniswap v2 contracts, and then customize the substream for those other protocols.
Okay.
In other words, more substreams coming.
Yeah.
Oh, substreams based on this kind of like a base of a graft, you mean, or
No, like imagine Uniswap creates they create their contracts and they create a subgraph. And let's say you and I go and we're like, hey, let's fork Uniswap v2 and create our own DEX, right? Well, we could very easily create a subgraph for that just by forking that subgraph, which a lot of people have forked Uniswap v2 contracts. And so now that there's a Uniswap v2 substream, a lot of people can then fork that substream and then tweak it based off of any tweaks that they did inside their contracts.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I got it. But are you sure it's published in Arbitrum? Because I can only find the V3 one though.
Signal on it. I'll post it here.
Okay. Oh, it's by Masari. Okay. I guess that's why I couldn't find it. Because I was looking for the streaming fast logo. Ooh, spicy. But wait, I can't even find it if I search. Like, if I search... Oh, no, it's the last one without signal. Okay, yeah, got it. No, it's fine. I thought it was an Explorer bug. Okay, let's fingers crossed. Streaming fast team doesn't signal a million jetty on this one again. Because last time it wasn't fun. Not sure if there's anyone here from streaming fast, but yeah.
Doesn't look like it. Payne, you said you wanted to speak about some stuff in relation to self-hosting, so if you want, feel free to take it away there.
No, I was mainly just with regards of self-hosting, I was curious to talk with Matthew about like how can we scale Firehose on bare metal servers. Like I'm curious how you guys are doing it. It's probably Ceph, right? So you basically have like your merged blocks on some hard drives, replicated multiple times, and then stored on CephFS, right?
That is correct.
Okay, that was easy. So I guessed it right. Cool. I guess that's the.
So the one thing I will note is Ceph is not a huge fan of lots of small files, which Firehose blocks are lots of small files. So I have a background project which I work on when I have a chance to play with 𝗨𝗲𝗂𝗃, which is a few other indexers are playing with. You might want to try that one as well. See if it works for you.
Okay. So no,
𝗨𝗲𝗃 is a single binary. It can run on top of ZFS, and it can expose a S3 bucket interface. So
okay.
We are using that to share Firehose blocks in the indexer Firehose channel. So if you want to download some blocks to play with, we're using 𝗨𝗲𝗃 for that.
All right. Cool. Interesting. I'm curious how so 𝗨𝗲𝗃 only works you said it's a single binary. Can it run on top of XT4 as well, or only ZFS?
You can run it on top of whatever file system you want. Doesn't matter.
Ooh, okay, nice. That's very good to know. Yeah, very good to know. And it's definitely something I'm gonna be experimenting with. As soon as our servers arrive, we finally got some configuration set in stone, more or less. Just emailed last night to see if they have everything in store so they can ship it. It's gonna be fun. But like 𝗨𝗲𝗃, can it also do what Ceph does in terms of like replication and all that stuff?
Yep.
Because okay, interesting.
I haven't tried that part yet. That's next on my to-do list.
Okay, good.
So if this works, we might switch to 𝗨𝗲𝗃 for all the Firehose blocks and keep Ceph just for the snapshots, like the backups.
Is there a reason for doing that?
I haven't tried. Well, we'd have to try Ceph with putting in terabytes of or petabytes of data, which might get a bit difficult to manage.
Got it.
Ceph is perfectly happy with big files. It just gets unhappy when you try to do a lot with a lot of small files. It's just not optimized for that use case.
Mm-hmm.
Seaweed is optimized for small files use case.
Good to know.
Matt, I
there-
had a question as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that
So
question.
yeah, it's slightly on topic, but I started to steer away from what I was initially thinking. So with substreams, you can essentially import other substreams to reuse different modules and stuff like that. Is there a plan, or do you know of anything planned to be able to essentially reuse pre-indexed data? So, like, as an example, let's say that we've got this this new Uniswap v2 substream, right? And inside it's going to have all kinds of token price, modules and all that stuff. Which presumably other people building substreams are going to want to be able to reference that data. Is there a plan to make it to where we don't have to re-index that same data, but since we already did that on a prior substream that's been synced, we can just reference that old data?
So define what you mean by index.
To scan through the different blocks, pull it all through, like be able to get to reference the outputs. I guess they're not stored in any type of native stateful manner.
So the outputs are reusable, but they're not reusable when you import it into GraphNode. That's why I asked. Right. So if you're just talking about substreams itself, it has a cache, and if all the modules have a checksum or hash, whatever you want to call it. So if 3 different substreams use the same modules, which use the same hash, then they're already pre-computed. They don't have to be recomputed again. But at the end of the day, all that stuff needs to be imported into GraphNode, so that GraphNode import part needs to be redone.
So essentially, let's say we sync the Uniswap v2 substream, right, and that gets us token prices for all kinds of tokens. And then I'm separately making another substream, and I want to import token prices for my XYZ protocol token. I can import that, and we don't have to re-look through any of those blocks because it's all stored in cache. So we can just immediately steal that output and then start writing it to the database. Well, presumably have to do maybe some other transformations and stuff, but
yeah, you have to change like the last module in the substream, which is the graph out
right
module.
But you've already scanned through all the blocks, so you're kind of jumping to 95% of
so now
work.
So let's just let me just take a screenshot. Okay, I posted a screenshot, right, of the Uniswap v2, the one that we were just discussing, so we can see the components it has: store pools, store input tokens, store volume, store USD prices, graph out. So graph out is the end module that connects to the graph node. But if you don't change the store USD prices, if you need exactly that, well, we don't have to recalculate it because it's exactly the same. So if you run substreams info, it will give you the checksum of each module. I just post a screenshot of that. Let me just get this one here. One sec. So yeah. So they're designed to be reusable. The only thing that's missing is the a registry to show you which modules are already available so that you don't reinvent the wheel. Okay, so here's like the first part of the substreams info. And you'll notice here I'm just giving the IPFS hash of that's that you can find in the Graph Explorer. So you can actually give the IPFS hash of the graph IPFS, and it will find the substream within it and then decode the substream and give you the info. Nice, convenient feature. But anyway, you can see the hashes in the output here. So as long as the hash is the same, then it's already calculated, it's already in your cache.
All right, I see a few people typing, so I'll pause. Well, that'd be interesting to hear people's perspectives on. Derek asks the question: is anyone planning on doing a full transfer to L2, or is everyone? Oh, I'm assuming everything should be everyone thinking with. Are people doing a full transfer, or are people going gradually? There we go.
Why would you do all in if there's only like 25% of the stake, well, the rewards moving to Arbitrum?
Curious to hear your perspective here, Matt, since you've commented all in. How responsive have your delegators been, Matthew? Okay, all in is very small. Yeah, how responsive have your delegators been? I see some typing. Got it. But have you reached out to them and made them aware of the move? And I'm curious how that's been. The ones we know of, yes, yeah, got it. Makes sense. Seems to be a question there from Derek to Marc-Andre in relation to his comment on gradually moving. That makes sense, Marc-Andre.
One question: is it required that the indexer has at least 1/16 of self stake in order to migrate a larger delegation? Like, say, someone's got 10 million GRT delegation that wants to move to Arbitrum. Do you need to have at least whatever the math on that ends up being, 700,000?
No,
Whatever.
when you move your delegation, it just the indexer on the other side becomes over delegated. It's just if they stake more, it gets I guess taking it into consideration basically. But I guess nothing bad can happen. And I don't think there's.
So you would be able to, on a reactionary basis, say, okay, great, I just received a big old,
Yeah.
migration. I'm going to move some of my own stake to supply that.
Yeah, I think there's nothing stopping you from doing this. Yeah, but unless I'm wrong, I haven't checked the contract, so maybe Juan can chime in. But yeah.
As far as I remember, there's no, like, you can move whatever amount you want as a delegator as long as the indexer has already moved some. Basically, the indexer exists in L2. But yes, as Payne mentioned, if you as a delegator move a large amount, the downside is that the indexer might get over delegated. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's a very specific question from Alex on Chain Solutions DAO. I don't have a response to that, but I'm curious if anyone has any thoughts there. Who's closer to the migration? If not, we can try to get a follow-up for you there. Follow-up response. Maybe Juan, if you know more about this.
I'm not entirely sure about the question. Like, problems in what sense? I think you're able to move from one address to another, even if it's a vesting contract, because I think it's just, I mean, I don't know if you can select the address if it's a vesting contract that's not fully vested. If it is fully vested, you can select any address that you want. But by problems, what do you exactly mean? Is it something at the index agent level, maybe?
Yeah, Alex, would you like to elaborate either via voice or text?
Because from the contracts perspective, there shouldn't be any problems as far as I'm aware. Regarding the question from Stake Machine, that's, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's probably better to ask Pablo, but if I'm not mistaken, it's just one of the steps when transferring your stake as an indexer. It really depends on your actual situation, whether it's liquid GRT, if it's a vesting contract that's not fully vested, or if it's a vesting contract that's actually fully vested. You basically have to either select another address in L2 if it's fully vested or if it's liquid, or you can basically pick a vesting or get a vesting contract created for you in L2. It's basically, like, in simple terms, that those are the questions, the ways that it's done. So yeah, basically that's the first step, like selecting the L2 indexer address, so to speak, and then you actually transfer. If it's fully vested, I think you can just pick a regular address, like whether it's a safe or it's like an EOA, and then you basically keep on using that one for the indexer, and it's linked in the contracts, or at least it's linked in the subgraph. I think it's also linked in the contracts. I'm quite sure the transfer tools release will be basically announced ahead of time, because there's a bunch of different like components that we need to make sure all are working at the same time and released at the close to the same time. Subgraphs, UI changes, the contracts being rolled out, then the indexer agent, and have all of the indexers using the new indexer agent, yada yada yada. So it's probably going to be like a few days before we release it, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, I think there's at least 1 week before the rewards are increased on Arbitrum, since the rollout of the transfer tools, just to make sure that everything's working correctly. That's stated in the GIP for the rewards increase. I don't remember the exact numbers, if it's 1 or 2 weeks.
Juan, I have a really dumb question. Can I ask it?
There are no dumb questions.
Oh yes, this one is. Why did we go this route without, but instead we could have just rewritten the protocol on L2, deprecated the token on L1, and moved everyone over? Because like close to nobody's like we don't have that much query traffic. We could have easily handhold everyone to move over to Arbitrum instead of like doing all this very complicated L1 to L2 transfer tools with also migrating subgraphs and everything. This is just, I don't know, it feels way too complicated for what it should be. I mean, I get it.
What's the other alternative? Because to exit the L1 layer, you still need to basically wait 28 days. So if people don't want to wait those 28 days, there's like literally nothing you can do other than just creating helpers to basically avoid those.
Anton, you say, what about liquidity provider indexes? Yeah, that's true. But yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, the graph is not an easy to migrate or easy to transfer protocol across layers. So these solutions had to be complex to accommodate for all of the different use cases. If the protocol have been much simpler or much more like a DEX, maybe it would have been easier. But yes, I mean, complex solutions usually require complex solutions to be able to be transferred. And that's unfortunately the situation we found ourselves in.
The only reason why you really need a multi-chain agent is to reuse the same database between the two indexers, and it's a very, very good user experience sort of thing. It's worth delaying it, in my opinion, for the multi-chain agent. Not only you can reuse the same database, but you can also keep one single list of off-chain subgraphs. You can it's so much worth it. Have you ever tried running multiple agents on the same machine connecting to the same database? Curious, because yeah, I can share my experience. We're running 8 something indexers on the same rig, basically.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm running a complete separate stack for L2, and yeah, I understand that for handling the transition for the couple of months that during which we'll be transitioning for L2, a multi-chain agent will definitely help. But it's kind of a temporary situations, and maybe there would have been alternatives. But I'm still very happy that we have this multi-chain agent though, because the way it's configured, that's going to give us a lot of additional flexibility in the future. Just that I don't think we should have. I don't think we should be delaying everything, waiting for it though.
Yeah, but also like yeah, I mean, I get your point. And also to add to what the multi-chain agent was doing, you can also set it up to use testnets, and soon you can also make it so that you can use multiple indexers basically on the same network. So say you have the situations that we have at 𝗨𝘀𝗀𝗧𝗂 when you run multiple indexers for multiple companies or entities or whatever. You don't have to run multiple agents simultaneously or multiple processes and handle everything that way. So yeah, I think that will come, not at the release time, but it's
Yeah,
very
that's great.
helpful.
It's great for the white label indexing industry.
Yeah. Anton, you said hopefully not additional issues. So if you just upgrade the version, it works. You don't need to do anything else. You can, like, if you don't want to use all the fancy new features, you can just upgrade and call it a day. Or not even bother updating if that's like you're not missing anything, so to speak. If if you don't want to change your setup or run an Arbitrum indexer next to that one. And if you really don't want to bother, you can literally just spin up another old version index agent on the same rig, set it up properly, and use the same environment variables for off-chain sync so that they don't compete to take away subgraphs from being assigned to the right index nodes and call it a day. That's what we do currently now with 7 or 8 or 9 index agents running on the same rig. So for sure, it won't add additional issues if you're not trying to use the fancy new features. The fancy new features might be buggy, which is why I would recommend people to test them on testnet. You have plenty of time before we move over to mainnet. So yeah, and you can then report bugs either to me or straight to Tiago. And I'm sorry, but yeah, I mean, there's no new release is perfect. Am I right? There's also always gonna be edge cases. There's always gonna be things that nobody thought of until they happen. So yeah. Well, Matthew, that's like 300, 400 CPU cores. Whoa. And close to 400 gigs of RAM. Jesus. But you're not running it through the graph node, right? Like it's not outputting to a subgraph. Or actually it does. Oh no, it doesn't. Yeah, it's a CLI. Well, that explains why mine doesn't sync, because I'm connected to your Firehouse and it doesn't do anything. The nice thing about Rust is that you can, assuming you have resources, the more resources you throw at it, the faster it will sync. And it's almost a linear scale, which is amazing to see. This is one of the reasons why Solana can also scale that well. It's because they're using Rust. Oh, Matthew, I'm not getting anything. Like literally, it's zero. It's only one block that I managed to do something with it. Like the only log that I see is committing write batch, and that's it. I'm gonna restart to see if it's doing anything. Yeah, it does indeed sound like something's broken.
All right, folks, we're coming into the final 10 minutes of today's conversation. We can keep going with the questions. Any new topics are also welcome as well. New questions, fire away. Or if folks would like to, we can. People are typing. Good stuff. Oh, Alex asked the question about APR, which I don't know how to respond to. Anyone have any particular thoughts on that one?
Is there a decent chance of higher APR on Ethereum and most of the indexes will run to Arbitrum via transfer? Yes. Yeah, definitely. Depending on how much stake is moved from Ethereum to Arbitrum and how many of the rewards are moved to Arbitrum, yes, there's definitely a decent chance of having that happening. Especially if yeah, we need prediction markets on release date of transfer tools. Too bad FTX is shut down because we could have easily spun up a token there. You could also vote on like Trump versus Biden or whatnot. So I don't see why this wouldn't be possible. But yeah, Nick, temporarily, yes, that's true. But this also is dependent on how fast we're gonna switch over entirely to Arbitrum. Because like if a lot of indexers move over to Arbitrum at start and we only move 25% and then we wait for 6 months to move the rest, then you get 6 months of really good rewards, right, on Ethereum. So that's why it would be best for everyone to just move part of the stake that's like if 20% of the rewards are moved to Arbitrum, just move 20% of your stake there. There's literally no need to try to game the system because you might end up in a bad spot, in a bad situation. But yeah, it is only temporary. That is true. I don't think anyone agreed on anything though. What calls do you mention?
Yeah, that's not really a controllable figure. You know, we can't necessarily control that delegators won't migrate, and then at which point there's more stake than rewards. And so I don't think trying to predict what's going to occur is going to be a successful method. I think using a reactionary approach is going to be a little bit smarter.
Mm-hmm. And even so, with a reactionary approach, you might end up, like I said, in a bad spot for a few months if things are delayed again. If people move too much stake in too little time, basically.
Yeah, the obvious thing is that the transfer tools work in one direction. So, cautiously adding in, but keeping an eye on where the network stake is at, because as soon as it's overstaked, it's it's 28 days to get it back. So
just a pin, no financial advice, of course, but yeah, I'm joking. Matthew, I'm looking at my my indexer. It looks like the other substream also stopped. I'm gonna jump on DMs with you after this call, though.
All right. Final 6 minutes. So the final call for questions, thoughts, and things of this nature. I see people typing. Yes, no airdrop giveaways. Do your own research, not financial advice.
Ooh, airdrops. Take care, Nick.
Yeah, see you, Nick. Bye-bye. Pleasure to have you. Thanks for coming along. I wonder if there's a sound effect for an airdrop. That'd be funny.
No. That's a scam.
There you go.
That was amazing. That's good. Yeah, that's the perfect one for the airdrops. We've got to get these sounds on the soundboard for build it.
If you
Build
can
a
make
DAO,
me a
DAO Club.
list, I can add as many sound thingies you want. Just give me the MP3 files or I don't know, something like that. Just or links to YouTube without me having to cut videos to get those or something like that.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll send them over.
That would be perfect. No, I can add them, but I don't want to waste 2 hours of my time trying to like cut videos to get those out, you know?
Yeah. I think they're like the ones that the Graph Builder DAO has are like BitConnect related. So I think I can grab those. They should be on YouTube or SoundCloud or something. I should be able to find them. Yeah, official IOH soundboard pack would be cool.
Hey, by the way, did anyone try to connect two servers with like fiber? No switch in between. Would that be an issue? Or what should I expect doing this? Because I have 3 servers. I have 3 dual port 200 gigabits per second cards, and I want to interconnect all of them. And of course, all of them would go to the main switch to go out to the internet. But I just want to copy things in and out or access files from one to another without like having a switch in between. And keep your question for the bull market. Well, technically, all the servers will be like each server is directly connected to the other two. So I don't see why that would be a problem though. Because like all the cards are dual ports. It's just messy. Okay, nice. Okay, now I can probably deal with that. I was wondering if I should expect anything not to be working as expected, but just if it's just messy, then it's fine. I don't mind. And hopefully by the next bull market, I will buy a big ass switch to move everything to. But I really cannot afford 200 gigabits per second switches right now. It's like another 50K. Or like 20K, I think, something like that. Especially if you want the InfiniBand. 200, like Jim, 200 gigs per second switch is like really expensive. It's something like the ones that I found on fs.com, which I don't really like because they're Chinese crap. But they're like 20K. So a decent one would go to around 50, I guess. Yeah, bonding also works, and it's indeed much cheaper. That's true. I was also thinking of bonding. Oh, there you go. So yeah, someone linked a 64 port 100 gigs switch. It's 14K. But yeah, bonding definitely works. We wanted to do that with 25 gigs, so basically SFP28. But I really like, I don't know what to do in terms of networking, to be honest. I just stopped at the idea of using Mellanox Connectix 7, and Mellanox also has like those weird cards for dual CPU servers, where you plug in the NIC itself to one CPU, and then you have like an extension that goes to a PCI Express of the other CPU, so both can go out from each's PCI Express lanes, basically, which saves like 50% like reduction in CPU usage, which is insane. Yeah. Yeah, that's true, Mark. I definitely agree that. Which is why I don't want to use currently. I don't want to buy a switch. I just want to interconnect everything and see how that goes. Worst case, I would just buy 1 or 2 more of those NICs, which is like 1 or 2K, and just put them on my switch, because I have on a router / switch, because I have a Dell that's currently doing that part, and for sure it has enough CPU power to move that without like any firewalls in between. You can easily move 200 gigs per second of data.
Well, there you go. Hopefully there are some interesting options there for you, Payne. I can talk about hardware for hours. This is true. We are at the top of the hour, but as always, if folks want to continue and vibe, that is, of course, more than welcome. But as far as the official IOH, I am going to go ahead and end the event. I want to say a special thank you to each and every one of you for attending and showing up today. These open style conversations are always fun. Many people have questions, and this is the best place to ask them, because many of you folks are all, doing similar things, and so we can always share knowledge and cross-reference information. So thank you all for attending, and we look forward to hosting you all again same time next week. Take care. Bye-bye.